we got a new report coming out around Zach LaVine as Jake Fisher said Zach LaVine is available, but the Bulls do not want to head towards a full-fledged rebuild. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into today's edition of the Bulls Report. We're going to be deep diving into this report from NBA insider Jake Fisher, go over some trade targets for the Bulls, because if they don't want to go full-fledged rebuild, maybe they want to trade LaVine and retool a little bit. And then also on the later half of today's show, dive into some LaVine trade destinations, see what teams would be interested in the Bulls All-Star. But guys, before we dive into that and all, make sure you guys are subscribed here to the Bulls Report by Chat Sports. We're at 5,100 subscribers. I'm trying to catch the Heat report, so if you guys are new here and want another go-to Bulls YouTube channel, go down there, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and anytime we get a new report, like we do today, we will have a video for you guys ASAP. So the first point I wanted to make on today's video is I can't stress enough is how important this trade deadline is for Chicago, because they got some decisions to make here. Like, we have seen this big three for now 3 seasons now, and obviously we know, their peak of this big three of LaVine, DeRozan, and Vooch was with Lonzo Ball before he went out that season. But we've seen enough from this big three to, I really do believe, we have enough of a sample size. We need to make a decision. I think these are the 3 choices the Bulls will have to make at this deadline. Number 1, I think it might be a full-fledged rebuild. Like, maybe this report coming out, maybe it's just smoke for the Bulls to up the value of their other trade assets. We have heard that they are not interested in trading Alex Caruso, but you never know. A team can offer a good enough deal, and maybe they say, screw it, let's trade DeMar, trade Vooch, trade LaVine, trade Caruso, get as much young draft cap, or get young players and draft capital, and then just go full rebuild. Now, this was the report that we got today. Trade LaVine and go a little retool, and we'll go over some trade targets here in a second. But I kind of like this choice because we've actually seen the Bulls play much better over the last couple of months, or last like a month and a half, with LaVine out of the lineup. Obviously, now he has been back for the back-to-back wins versus Charlotte Hornets, but maybe you want to move off LaVine, kind of retool the rest of this roster, and maybe try to sneak in the playoffs and, see what happens in the first round. But I like this one. I don't love it. This is the one I've always been leaning towards. And then this one, totally against this one. Just completely running it back and just standing pat at the NBA trade deadline. I understand you are kind of upping your game a little bit over the last couple of weeks with now LaVine healthy, beating the Hornets Hornets actually only back-to-back times. But with the upcoming schedule with the Bulls is getting easier. I don't want them to kind of trick themselves into thinking, oh, we should be buyers heading into the trade deadline. But running it back, I don't think this is likely. I think the most likely one is this one right here, trading LaVine and retooling the roster. Now, if they do decide to trade LaVine and retool, let's go over some Bulls trade targets. And one of them is a big-time name out of Atlanta. And this is the first one I want to talk about. And it's Dejounte Murray, because this one we've heard the Atlanta Hawks aren't happy with their current core that they have of Trae Young and Murray, and they may want to move on. But our boy Jake Fisher, again, he said this to say about the Atlanta Hawks. He says, right now, it sounds like the Hawks are truly considering the idea of being a real seller, taking a step back, and maybe even getting a couple extra lottery balls this year. And that's where the Bulls could come in, because the Bulls could offer draft picks plus maybe a combination of LaVine to go get this stud out of Atlanta. And I'm a big fan of Dejounte Murray. I mean, there is a reason a couple years ago why he went for 3 first-round picks. He puts up great numbers this season next to a really, ball-centric point guard in Trae Young. He is doing this majority of the time off ball, being a catch-and-shoot guy, attacking closeouts on the perimeter, and he's putting up great numbers. I mean, he's shooting 38.4% from downtown this year. That's great from his standpoint. That's a career high for him, and he's been a way better catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, which is obviously incredibly important in today's NBA. But I like his size. He really brings down the defensive side of the floor, which I really enjoy, and that's kind of a huge green flag for me when scouting the players if they play both ways. But what about this trade thrown out there? The Bulls would obviously be landing Dejounte Murray and Bogdanovic, and we'd be sending Zach LaVine to Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta saying we could pair up LaVine and Trae Young, and that will get us closer to a championship kind of contention status than a guy like Dejounte Murray. I would assume the Bulls were probably, if this trade would go down, probably have to throw down a first-round pick. Again, not too sure how the NBA GMs view, Murray on $18 million a year versus LaVine on around 38 to 40. But let me know, would you guys do this trade? A for accept, D for decline. We're going to keep it at no draft picks for now, but I do think there's a chance if the Bulls wanted this to go down, probably have to include some picks. Let me know, A for accept, D for decline, if you would do this deal. Another trade target for the Bulls could be Buddy Hield out of Indiana. We are hearing reports that he could be on his way out, and the Bulls obviously still have a need for a pure shooter on this roster. I do think we have some guys who can shoot the ball, obviously like Kobe White, Caruso, shooting a really high percentage this year, but we don't have no pure just catch and shoot guys like Buddy Hield is, and that's what he's been throughout his NBA career. And this year, on limited minutes per game, you guys see only 25.8, he's been able to put up good numbers because of his efficiency from behind the arc. He's putting up a ton of threes per game, shooting them at a high percentage, and I think this fills a need on this Bulls roster, and Buddy Hield would be a seamless fit. Put him next to Ayo, Patrick Williams, Kobe White, would have some real offensive talent, plus he's a hell of a shooter, like I was just saying. Now, another one I want to talk about, Davion Mitchell. This is kind of like the lower tier option where you're just trying to get better on the margins. Like, this is not a trade where, the Bulls are going all in on, getting them over the hump or whatever it may be. But this could be another, throw-in a Zach LaVine trade, where maybe we send LaVine to Sacramento and Mitchell is one of the guys on top of picks that the Bulls could get. Keep that in mind. Davion Mitchell, a name that's been linked to the Bulls by multiple reports as of late. But in terms of LaVine destinations, we're going to be getting into that in a second. I think after a couple recent moves in the NBA, I think I have my final 5 list of where I think LaVine will be traded to. But I do want to give a huge shout out to PrizePicks before we dive into that. PrizePicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS. You're going to get a first deposit match all the way up to $100. I use PrizePicks for every single game I watch, and I promise you guys will too. This is a lineup I'm rolling with tonight. I'm actually riding all Minnesota Timberwolves tonight and taking advantage of PrizePicks Taco Tuesday special. I'm going more on 17.5 points for Karl-Anthony Towns. Ant's been hot as of late. I'm going to go more than 30 points for him, and that's my man, Jaden McDaniels, one of the most underrated players in the league. I'm going to go more on 11 points for him. It's Daily Fantasy made easy. All you got to do, pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on some projected stat types, and you guys can start seeing the cash roll in today. PrizePicks.com/CLNS and use that promo code CLNS, and you guys will get a first deposit match up to $100. I'll put that link for you guys in the comments section and description of today's show. That's PrizePicks, Daily Fantasy made easy. So my top 5 Zach LaVine trade destinations, I've cut it down after a couple of recent moves. I do think the Sacramento Kings are up there, and this is in no specific order. I think the Kings, they know they're a good team, but again, what is that extra piece that could get them over the hump? Maybe they send, Davion Mitchell, like I mentioned, and a couple picks, try to get LaVine in, and just have an overall just total arsenal of weapons that they could deploy at a defense during the playoffs. Keep your eyes out on the Kings. Golden State Warriors, number 2 for me. Heard the rumors about them wanting to kind of take advantage of, the last couple of years of Steph Curry's prime, and I agree with them. Go get that secondary score that we saw that Klay Thompson was for so many years. He has taken a step back this season. Go get that tertiary secondary scorer next to Steph Curry. Take a lot of kind of the pressure that's on him. I think the Warriors could be cooking with grease. You would just never count them out, especially if they would make a move for a guy like LaVine. This is probably the favorite right now, but again, I'm not too sure because I don't know if the Lakers necessarily need him. They have been struggling as of lately and aren't too happy with the production from D'Lo, Gabe Vincent, a bunch of these guys, Austin Reeves even, on this unit. But maybe they think LaVine, next to LeBron and AD, he could finally become a winning player. Lakers could offer that 2029 unprotected first-round pick. I would be interested. Number 4 for me, this is my dark horse. I know you may be saying, whoa. Why would a team like the Spurs trade for Zach LaVine if they're not going to make the playoffs this year and won't contend? I think the Spurs may be looking out for the future here. You get a true scoring guard who can get it done at all 3 levels next to a Victor Wembanyama. You can offer the Bulls a good package and really get excited heading into next season. Then you got 2 of the best offensive players in the league with the defensive kind of stopper in Victor Wembanyama. I think the Spurs could be a dark horse too. Miami Heat, this is my final one, probably the second favorite on my list. I just think, I think they really like Tyler Hero. I don't know if they love him. I think if they're trying to upgrade that spot, LaVine's their guy. Trade Hero and a first-round pick, get it done, and really have a good third scorer next to Bam and Jimmy in the playoffs. My bad. And really have that third scorer that could get them over the hump, which they lacked last year against the Denver Nuggets. But I just gave you 5 teams. I need you guys to give me one. Which team will land Zach LaVine at the NBA trade deadline? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. And thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Trade deadline's a month away. Make sure you guys are subscribed here to the channel. I'm expecting the Bulls at least be making moves. They will at least make one trade. I hope so at least, and don't stand pat. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. See you all next time. Go Bulls.